Now, I know the big news today is that Brian Cashman had a meeting with Jorge Posada.
Indeed.
Yes, and he flat out, told him point blank, we want you to be the DH.
Yep.
No more catcher for this, in my opinion, what's going to end up being a Hall of Fame catcher. And, of course, the other part is the whole thing with Derek Jeter. We're going to talk about Jeter, but let's focus on Posada for just a moment. Listen, I'm all in favor of Posada being on the team and even batting. I said all year long this year when the Yankees were playing ball that, Girardi was sitting Posada way too much, and too many times he was not in the lineup. On those days when Francisco Cervelli was doing the catching. Cervelli was doing the catching, thank you. I always felt like, hey, at a minimum, Posada should be the DH. He needs to be in the lineup. I didn't agree with him sitting out all those games. They learned, I guess, this year that Cervelli doesn't appear to, be a major league style of hitter. His defense also was not as good as they thought. He had a very low percentage of throwing out runners. So now I think what's happened here is that because of the way Girardi handled the situation, I think he's kind of got everybody convinced that Posada cannot catch anymore. He's too old to do it. He can't do it. And I don't believe that to be the case at all. I think the biggest mistake the Yankees made last year, and I'm really done with trying to defend Brian Cashman. I've been a supporter of Cashman for a long time, but I'm really done with defending him. They should have never given up Jose Molina. It would have cost him $2 million to keep Jose Molina
and
on
have
the
no
squad.
hitting.
Well, listen, if Posada's your catcher, Molina's your backup, it was a nice combination. But listen, let's not talk about Molina. Listen, I know you think that Posada is done, so go ahead, Frankie. It's your turn.
All right.
Give me your take on Jorge Posada.
Jorge Posada. First of all, he was a fantastic catcher at one point. But even at the pinnacle of his career, he was never a brilliant defensive catcher. Never. And you can say what you want about what you think he should be doing with his game this year, but he cannot throw out a crippled third grader anymore.
Well, now you're getting into exaggeration.
No,
Frankie.
no.
Come on,
Larry.
come on.
The numbers don't lie, and I'm going to get you the numbers. He cannot throw anybody out anymore, and that is, of course, from the labrum surgery. That had something to do with it. And as far as the reason why he wasn't catching as much this year, and as much he wasn't DHing as much as you thought he'd like. Now, it wasn't until now that we realized that he also had a torn meniscus that he just got replaced, the same as CC Sabathia. So, a 39-year-old catcher, first of all, you got to tip your hat to him that he even got that far, because a catcher's shelf life does not go beyond 35 usually. So, you got to tip your cap to him there, but he is just not fit for the job anymore.
Well, hold on a minute. You say he's not fit. Are you saying he's not in good physical condition? He's not fit, physically fit?
The amount of conditioning you need to be in to catch anywhere near 70% of the games in a major league season is just not what a 39-year-old body can handle all the way throughout. He's going to be on the DL constantly. Aside from that, he's already starting to have he's starting to have the knee problems. He already had the shoulder problems. If you're a catcher that is having meniscus surgery and you've already had labrum surgery, the two biggest things for a catcher is your throwing arm and your knees, because you're squatting all game. Aside from that, he can't run. His numbers as a DH have always been terrible, but his numbers as just hitting in general this year have been at least 15 points lower than usual. He's becoming a cog on the base paths. He can't. It's just really, really, really. It's very bad.
All right, listen. You say his average was down this year. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
How many games did Posada catch this year?
I'll get that for you.
It'd be lucky if he caught 100, okay? I mean, he might have been a few games over 100, if that, okay? When you're not playing every day, your numbers are going to go down. It takes you 2-3 games just to get your swing back. Girardi systematically ruined Posada. I don't believe for a minute that he can't do it anymore. If anything, he's fresh because he hasn't played, okay? I understand the injury factor.
He's not fresh. He had a torn meniscus. He's been injured.
Listen, he's played hurt a lot for his career. I'm not saying that he wasn't nicked up this year, okay? But Posada is in great physical shape. He's in great condition. He's not a fat guy or a slob or overweight like me, by the way. But listen, he's a professional, fit athlete. He takes pride in his job. He takes pride. What, do you have a call coming in? Yeah. We'll get to the caller just 1 second here. But the way Girardi managed him made the look and effect that he can't do it anymore. I don't think Posada liked sitting out all those games at all, and I don't think Jeter liked Girardi sitting Posada out all those games either. Okay? All right, caller, who do we have on the line? Let's get him in here.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, King?
Mr. Larry Magen, respectfully, I must say, I got to agree with Frank. Anything you've gotten from Jorge Posada past the age of 35 is a bonus. All right? Joe Girardi, I love. Frank, not a fan. But you cannot criticize Girardi for sitting Posada past the age of 35, lad. Anything you get from him is a bonus. All right? Hall of Fame catcher, no doubt. Still swings a fairly good bat. DH is doing him a great service. That's showing him a respecting there. Him behind the plate at his age, and like Frank said, in his heyday, not a great defensive catcher, my friend.
Well, once Tony Pena became a coach over here and started working with Posada, I definitely saw a marked improvement. It was all about the quick release. It was all about getting your feet in position before the throw. He did that. He made a transition, and he had a
he's not going to get better as time goes on.
And not only that,
as you age, you're not going to get physically better, lad.
He made his transition. He got he definitely got his feet under him a little bit more, but then his labrum went because he's old, Larry.
Right. No, he had a shoulder injury, no question, but he has come back from the injury, maybe not as strong as he was before. But let me ask the important question. King, are you happy with the year that Francisco Cervelli gave the Yankees behind the plate? No. Yes or no?
No, Larry,
okay,
no.
What do you want?
And I'll answer that fully. No. But you want to know something? I don't think he's gotten the playing time he deserved. And when he got taken out of that preseason game when Tampa Bay, you remember that thing?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
I still have faith in Francisco Cervelli.
When he broke his wrist?
You remember that Frank in preseason against Tampa Bay
2008,
when he got slammed at the plate? Remember that?
Yeah, that was 2008.
I remember that. All Yankee fans remember that, and that was 3 years ago. And last year he had a heck of a season for the Yankees, but this year he was in the toilet. Come on, he was not a viable option for Posada.
Larry, he's still got youth on his side. All right, he's had some setbacks. I think the kid deserves a shot at the starting catching job. Do I think he's the be-all, save-all? Maybe not. But he's a favorite of mine, and I think he deserves another shot at the catching job. Over Jorge Posada.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, Posada may end up...
Thank you, King, for the call.
Thank you, King.
All right. Talk to you later.
It's always a pleasure. Well, call us back another time, King. That was a lot of fun. Listen, Posada just may end up in the Hall of Fame. He's borderline Hall of Fame numbers. He's a clutch man at the plate, and I don't know about you guys, but when the game is on the line and you have a clutch situation in hand, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty darn comfortable when Posada's the man at the plate.
I don't.
Well, I don't know what team you've been watching, Frank.
What team I've been watching? I've been watching the Yankees, and Posada has been screwing the pooch at the plate lately, especially in big spots. He gets those CNI singles in there too soon. But you want to know something, Larry? The one thing that we learned from the 2009 going to 2010, I didn't agree with Johnny Damon leaving ever, never like that. But I do agree with the youth movement.
You and I are on the same side on the Damon thing. Okay,
39-year-old catcher. Mm-hmm. You've got Austin Romine, who is tearing up the minor leagues right now and having a good good Arizona Fall League showing. Austin Romine is one of the biggest touted catching prospects out there. Then you have Jesus Montero, who's pretty much like a Posada clone, where you're not going to be getting the defense that Romine gets you, but he's already hit 20. He hit 21 home runs this season. You've got two of the best catching prospects in the game waiting in the wings in the minor leagues Look what Buster Posey did for the San Francisco Giants this year. We just got to be able to grow up. We got to grow up. This is Posada's last season as a Yankee either way.
Well, that's a good point, Frankie, and that's part of my point that you just made right there.
So what, you're going to honor him? You're going to honor him by ruining the team?
No, it's not going to ruin the team.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, well, listen, let me ask you something. Between DH and catcher, okay, between those two options, which one do you expect? Should you expect to get more out of offensively, catcher or DH? Now, be honest. If you know baseball, give me a straight answer.
DH.
Thank you very much. So you're going to tell me that Jorge Posada he can provide what we need as a DH. You expect more offensively as a DH, but he can't give us what we need as a catcher?
Exactly. What's so hard to understand?
How is he going to give you the offensive production as a DH if he can't give you the offensive production as a catcher?
Because he's only going to be catching X amount of games. DH, he can play more games. You keep his bat fresh. You keep his legs fresh. He's getting meniscus surgery. Everything's going on him. He can't run as it is. DH is going to keep him fresh.
Again, I'm going to say it again and again and again, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree. We're not going to agree on this.
I don't get it.
Your opinion and everybody in this town's opinion is colored by the fact of the way Girardi played Posada this year. Posada could have caught 140 games easy this year. Instead, he caught 100. It gave the appearance that he could no longer do it.
Larry,
Posada did not have to sit out all those games.
Larry.
Okay? So you think he can't do it. You think he's injured beyond playing because of the picture that Girardi presented. Okay.
I don't like Girardi. I don't like Girardi at all. I am not using this as a Girardi thing. If you watch the games, teams with even moderate speed were putting on clinics. That last game in Boston. No, the last game in Boston. Terry Francona pretty much told the Twins, hey, listen, this is how you beat the Yankees. They stole 5 bases on Posada. He can't throw anybody out. If you're playing a team that has moderate speed, he has no arm left.
Well, there's something called, holding on a runner. What's his name?
Burnett. Yeah, I know you steal a lot of bases on the pitcher, but there's no competition anymore.
All right. Okay, Coach. I don't agree with you on that. I think Posada, I'll tell you what, Posada had a higher percentage, as far as I recall. I don't know for sure, but I'm 90% sure. Posada had a higher percentage of throwing out runners this year than Francisco Cervelli. I think Cervelli was like 12%. He was like the lowest in Major League Baseball.
Well, okay. Cervelli wet the bed this year. We know that.
Fine. So the option to Posada was the lowest percentage in the major leagues this year. Wow, there's a brilliant manager.
Exactly. Okay. Because there's no. Well, listen. Because when you have to keep him, you have to keep an aging body, an ailing body fresh for whatever kind of offensive firepower we're going to need for October. You got to do what you got to do.
Hey, listen. If they've got some Buster Posey in the minor leagues here, like you say they do, and the guy is going to be, all that, a young Johnny Bench or something like that.
You got to give him time.
Then fine. Then I'm okay with it. But what they put out there this year did not get them to the series. What about Texas? They put Benji Molina out there, okay? Benji Molina was lucky to even latch on with Texas and have a job. He was really 1 foot out the door, out of a job, out of baseball, okay? You're going to compare him to Posada?
Yeah, but
Benji Molina, the guy must weigh 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He's almost out of baseball. He's cut by the Giants. Texas gives him a shot, and they go to the World Series with Benji Molina. You don't think the Yankees could have gone to the World Series with Posada? There's another aspect to catching. It's called calling a game.
First of all, Benji Molina was a contract risk out there in San Francisco. He had never had any speed, but he always had the potential to pop out 15 to 20 home runs a year, and he's a very good defensive catcher, just like the rest of the Molinas are. So that is San Francisco dumping salary and leaving room for a huge catching prospect in Buster Posey. Secondly, you're going back to Posada. He not only the reason aside from him now knowing that he had a meniscus tear, he was out because of a hamstring this year. He was out because of broken foot bones, because of foul balls off his feet. He was out on DL stints a couple of times this year. You can't let somebody who has to be on their feet squatting all season at 39 years old.
So are you saying that Posada asked out?
No, he didn't ask out. But
so he was sat down it was by manager's decision, right? How many times did we see Posada on the bench this year when you could just see it in his face that he wanted to be in there playing, and Girardi said, no, you're not playing?
Every player wants to be in there playing when they're
Girardi always makes the decision to sit guys when they don't want to sit.
Not exactly. This is Cashman. This is front office. They make decisions too. Well, every player
I'm
that's
done
not
defending
playing,
Brian Cashman.
Every player that isn't playing wants to play.
Look, it's his last year on the contract. I say let him go as hard as he can, as far as he can. You know, the caller King brought up a point saying, and you brought it up as well. Anything past 35 was gravy with Posada.
Yep.
Well, the funny thing is that they didn't give him that 4-year deal till he was 36.
Exactly.
And what was the deal again? 4 years, $80 million. I forgot what they gave.
It was 3 years, 50, I think.
No, it was 4 years. They gave him 4 years at 36 years old. That's for sure. I don't remember the number, but it was a nice number. But it was definitely 4 years.
Right, but you want something.
So you say whatever they got out of him after 35 was gravy, yet they gave him a brand new 4-year deal at age 36.
Because he had a career year at 35. He had that career year. He bat over 300. He had over 20 home runs, and he knocked it. I forget. It was a career year.
All right, well, I'll just say this. If we're playing pick 'em, choose 'em in the street, and you and I are the two team captains, and it's your pick or my pick, and you got Jorge Posada standing there or Francisco Cervelli standing there, I'll tell you what. You can have Cervelli, and I'll take Posada, and I'll take my chances.
Well, I would say, listen, if you're down to Cervelli and Posada, I would take Posada too. But we're not down to that. We have the two best catching prospects in the
so that's
league.
I remember a few years ago we had the two best young pitching prospects, and that's why they went with Ian Kennedy and Phil Hughes. And don't get me wrong, I love Phil Hughes, but they were banking on their two young pitching prospects, and combined they didn't win a game.
And you know what? Kennedy had a decent season in Arizona. It takes time for these people, but you have to just go with them. You can't expect Austin Romine and Jesus Montero to spend their entire careers in the minor leagues.
This is Posada's last year. Bring them up. Let them share time with Posada.
They're going to share time with each other while Posada DHs. And I think that's the best thing because we keep Posada's bat around and we have defensive upgrades, speed and power still in there.
Right. So a guy that you just told me was deficient in his hitting as far as his numbers, his batting average, his power, everything's down. This is the guy that you're choosing for our DH. That's brilliant, Frank.
Okay. Well, why not?